Yes, it is. It posted correctly everywhere on the 3-day meeting that is happening. Everywhere. Has it posted with a time, place, agenda, all necessary data that is needed. I just want to confirm. So that
Thank you for your concern.
I'm sorry, was that?
Next.
Yeah.
It's, Mr. Gozen.
Craig Gozen, 4271 North Lake Sanford Road. Last month, Terry, when you were gone, I asked about the trash contract. And I believe Karen stated that we did get the escalator, de-escalator in that. But I reviewed the contract, and it is not in there. It only applies to $4 and above, which is their standard verbiage. What happened during those negotiations? Why didn't we get that? And then I have one more point. Anita, it is a requirement that in all spending motions, that the amount to be spent is supposed to be in the minutes with the motion. There's been a few that have not had the amount. Just please in the future.
Okay.
Spending is one specific requirement for the minutes.
Okay, I thought I'd been getting it in there, but I will
Anything else?
make sure.
That's it.
Sorry, Craig, we missed on what, I missed that emergency call.
Meeting minutes. Spending motions are supposed to include the amount spent.
Okay.
Is there anybody else? Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Since you have received a letter of resignation from Karen Perry, is that effective date June 28th? Okay. In that case, I would like to ask that the board consider me for the temporary treasurer position, replacing Karen until the election is finalized in November. I have 8 years of budget experience as an executive assistant, managing budgets in excess of millions of dollars. I have substantial work experience with government entities, both as a state employee and also working with the U.S. Copyright Office. Thank you.
Mr. Peters.
Yeah, a couple things. Just to be clear, the ZBA meetings, what time do they start? Because I looked at the notice and I couldn't see a time. I may have just misread it, so that's just a.
This one starts at 7. For a
7?
special reason, I have a 6 o'clock meeting.
Oh, no, that's okay,
About
just 7
something
o'clock?
in town, and then I
Okay.
asked that start at 7. That's why we changed for the normal time.
Jim, thank you, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Second
We
thing,
got a court authority meeting at 5 that night.
you're a busy man. The second point, I've asked for, when we review spending, often what I see as a traditional way of doing it is to see what you're spending and what is it against your projections. To say that you're spending $40,000 or $30,000 in a month is kind of interesting, but not very comprehensible. I'm used to seeing a budget of saying, hey, we've got $240,000 allocated to it, we expected $50,000 to be spent, we're on target or not. Just again asking for some transparency of how our money's being. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Art. Is there another member of the public that'd like to speak?
Sure, I'll speak.
Okay, Ms. Snyder.
Okay, so I'm Jeanette Snyder. I live in Edenville Township. This is my home base, and I'm also your county commissioner. And I am running again this year. They're 4-year terms now instead of 2, so we'll have at least 3 new commissioners. You know, could be all 7. There's a lot of new treasurers and new clerks too. And I got that report from the county today of who's running. And Karen, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for your service of 11 and a half years. And I was able to work with you for 9, and that'll just be some treasured memories. And I thank you for your service to the community in Edenville Township. I know you've done a lot, and so I just want to say thanks there. As far as what's going on at the county, so the state is mandating some new recycling, and so the county had the option to sign on with that or not. And by signing on with that, that actually includes dropping it off at Isabella versus Detroit, and there was some cost advantages there. But so there'll be some new things coming from the county, and so that will probably affect some of your contracts that you have on a township level. And I'm trying to think if I'm forgetting anything. But as always, if you have any questions for me, let me know. Oh, I did want to address the SAD. So the SAD and the Four Lakes Task Force, so that's, many people know that is putting a payment structure in place. So anybody that applies for grants, you need some sort of payment structure in place, and we have that now. And so I think you saw in the news now, you know, we're getting some movements on the grants and things. And so I do hope that's going to be reduced. I have, you know, every confidence that it will be, now that there's a firm structure in place. But we do have to go through the appeals. That is, you know, everyone's right to do that. So, thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Any other speakers? Summer council.
In referring to it, I'm sorry, I don't remember his name, but you're not affected by the SAD. It was brought up at the budget meeting here, I don't know how long ago that was, that you have paid the at-large SAD, that yes, everybody actually does pay something, because the commissioners did pledge full faith and credit of $10 million. So, even if you're not on the lake, you're still paying something.
Thank you, Summer.
What drains?
Aaron?
So tonight, I understand that there's some people on this board that are intending to appoint Terry Hall's next door neighboring good friend Guy Gaskell's wife to the position of treasurer. The Gaskell friend who openly supports and defends Terry's display of a flag that was identified by Colonel Dave Butler from the U.S. Army and spokesman for the U.S. forces in Afghanistan as racist garbage, and by a National Hate Watch group as mimicking the German Nazi war flag and representing worship with religion of chaos and darkness in some ancient kingdom. Wow. While the public cannot prevent, or as it seems even influence board decisions, I would like to say that before hiring a new deputy treasurer or appointing someone to fill the remaining term, I would have hoped that you would have acted openly and fairly by interviewing and selected from both persons seeking the office. I've spent quite a bit of time over the last several days campaigning in our township with Kathy Peters, a candidate for treasurer. We've knocked on many doors together. In doing so, I've gotten to know more about Kathy, and I'd like to share it with you. First, Kathy is a people person. I saw her relate to our residents in an exceptional way, listening to them and really hearing them. She treats people with respect and value, no matter what their surroundings. She's very warm and genuine. Kathy also has many years of employment experience at a managerial level. She's smart, mature, observant, and detailed. She knows how to use tools like a laptop and spreadsheets with envious efficiency, taking notes with people's names, concerns that they express, with issues that seem important to them, all doing it while she's riding in the passenger seat of my car. Kathy is brave. Without hesitation, she went with me to talk to the residents at a home identified by concerned citizens here at a recent meeting as potential marijuana growers, the Cubans. And in fact, they are Cuban because they told us that. She was observant in pointing out the dogs and the cameras, never once expressed hesitation. After our visit, instead of turning a blind eye like the supervisor has done, we spoke about what about the possibilities to harness tax revenue from that operation if it's found to be true, knowing that the little town of Coleman, right next door, collected over $59,000 in tax revenue last year alone from just one
22nd.
location. Finally, I believe that Ed Kathy is a person of honesty and thrift. Two things much needed on our township board. I believe Kathy is the right candidate to fill the position of treasurer, and I believe the people of Edenville Township will agree with me, and I hope that this board will agree with me tonight.
Fine. Thank you.
Thank you.